All right, what's going on, everybody? We're coming to you live from Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are at the new SimBull headquarters. How you doing today, Kenneth?
Good. We actually hosted trivia night the other night on TikTok, so we've got the headquarters up and rolling. It should be a ton of fun moving forward.
Absolutely, absolutely. And check us out on TikTok. Kenneth is one of the best influencers in the game. Is that what you call yourself? Influencer?
I absolutely am an influencer. We struggled at the beginning trying to figure out the content that worked on TikTok, but now we're cruising 100,000 views of video. It's absolutely fire NFL content. So go check it out.
Love it. And for anyone who tunes in now or after the fact, we will be doing this every Friday. So grab a beer. We got our SimBull koozies right here for you guys to check out. Grab a beer and join us and put comments in the chat. We'd love to answer any questions you have. We're going to take a quick look back at the market today, see who was performing well, who wasn't performing so well, and then give our picks. We've been pretty hot lately. We're not tracking it by any major metrics, but I think both of us have had some pretty good buys lately, and anyone who tuned in could definitely profit off those, win payouts wise, and in the long term.
Well, if we were allowed to participate in the market, we'd definitely be basically hedge funds, in the SimBull market. But instead, we're trying to give you information that might help you out. So stay tuned for the end when we go through teams that you could find to have a return, and maybe some teams to avoid as well.
For sure. Cool. Well, let's get into it right away. First, we're going to take a look here at some of our biggest gainers on the week. So some good movement this week as we show it right here. So as we can see, biggest gainers, some NFL movement, but we'll start here with your pick from the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think, with the Sim Rays up 8% this week. What do you have to say about the Sim Rays?
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to take credit for moving the market because that's not what I was trying to do, but I was just trying to get the Sim Rays the respect that they deserve that the market clearly was not giving them. So last week, Sim Rays, best record in baseball. They were the 16th highest priced team on the SimBull market. I'm like, that's absurd. I went through their stats since 2008 or 2007 when they changed their name. Over 13 years, they won 90 games 9 times out of 13 years, and people are acting like this franchise is broke. So just to be aware, last week's 16th highest priced team. This week, after their 8% gain, they're now the 6th highest priced team in baseball. I personally still think that's too low because I guess I'm a Rays fan now. I might become a Rays fan just in general because why not? They don't have any other fans. So 6th highest priced team in baseball right now. Be careful. They have lost 3 in a row. 2 to the White Sox, who are maybe the best team in baseball now, 2nd best team in baseball, somewhere around there. And then they dropped 1 to the Mariners yesterday. So another team to keep an eye on. But yeah, they went from 16 to 6. They're still 6-4 in their last 10, and they're still atop the AL East.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were dead on with that one, and we'll see if they keep winning. Like you mentioned, they have lost 3 in a row. So something to be careful of. But as far as it goes, the Rays have shown it all year, and we'll see if they can keep doing that. All right, let's get into our favorite division. As some of you know, Kenneth is a Packers fan. I'm a Bears fan. And we had some movement in the NFC North. Neither of our teams, but the Minnesota Vikings up 7% on the week. What do you think about the NFC North?
Yeah, I want to dive in a little bit deeper to talk about the Vikings, Packers, and Bears, just because that's if we're expert fans on anything, we're expert fans on the Bears and the Packers. But from a non-biased perspective, right? Neither of us are Vikings fans. Both of us think the Vikings organization is pretty much a joke for the most part. What are your thoughts on them moving forward? Like, do you think they have a window with Kirk Cousins? Do you think their defense is going to be better this year? Or is atrocious last year? I know Vegas. I just looked it up. Vegas has them winning 8.5 games, so that's a 500 team. Do you think that's about right? Do you think they're going up at all, going down at all?
Yeah, I think where they're at right now with their current value, like you mentioned, Vegas has them at 8.5 wins. I think that's decent, and they're the 14th highest ranked team in the Sim MLB market. So I think value-wise, that's a decent spot to be. They're priced at $47.88, which isn't terrible. And as I mentioned, 14th highest in value. And if Vegas thinks they're going to be, middle of the pack, just below 500 or maybe above 500, if you're going to take that over on wins, I think they're in the right spot. As far as them going higher, I don't know. Kirk Cousins is their ceiling. And I think they're starting to realize what they have with Kirk Cousins. I don't know why it took this long, and a lot of Vikings fans will tell you, oh, he's awesome. And by a lot of metrics, he does grade out well, but he's not that guy who's going to take that extra step and be that difference in you winning a playoff game or winning 2 playoff games and getting to the NFC Championship and eventually winning a Super Bowl. So while they've had a lot of draft picks over the last few years and have selected some good players, and a lot of those rookies played last year and showed it on display, I just think you're stuck there with Kirk, and I think them drafting Kellen Mond in the 3rd round kind of showed that. I mean, there's the rumors that they want to trade up for Justin Fields, and knowing Minnesota, they're a team that typically trades back, and they did that on draft night when they realized they couldn't get Fields. But just the fact that they were trying to trade up for a guy like that is kind of showing you, hey, the clock's ticking on Kirk, and they're starting to think up here that he may not be the guy. So
that could go down like in the NFC North as one of the biggest like impact point in time, right? Like impact point in time. Hey, Aaron Rodgers fell to the Packers at 24. They drafted him. Now he runs the division for the next 15 years, right? Mm-hmm. If Justin Fields turns out to be as good as some people think he is with his ceiling, with his athleticism, with his arm, like if he can develop that 2nd and 3rd read, right? If he can get comfortable in the pocket, if Nagy can know what to do with him, and he turns out to be one of those guys that leads a division for the next 15 years, and you're the Vikings and you had a chance to go up and get him, but you didn't, that could be a huge mistake and a huge changing point for the NFC North. And that's the other thing too. I want to talk about Kirk Cousins because I'm known for being biased against Kirk Cousins. And I think I actually am a little hard on him in the fact that I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't think he's a very good quarterback if he takes up 20% of your cap.
Yeah.
Right? Like he is not an Aaron Rodgers or a Deshaun Watson or a Russell Wilson who you can pay him a bunch of money and they themselves are going to win you a bunch of games. Right? Kirk Cousins needs Dalvin Cook. He needs Adam Thielen. He needs Justin Jefferson. He needs an offensive line and he needs a defense. Well, the hard part is if you're paying him $30 million a year against the cap, it's hard to fill out the rest of those positions, which they found out last year. Last year, their offense was unbelievably good. Maybe, offensive line maybe a little bit down, but their defense was atrocious, right? And that's what happens when you spend a lot of money on offense, right? You pay Dalvin Cook, you pay Kirk Cousins. It's hard to fill out a defense, and Kirk Cousins is not that guy to overcome that. So one of the things, and moving on to the rest of the NFC North, right? So we talk about the Vegas win totals have the Vikings at 8.5. The Sim Vikings and SimBull are about 14. So those are about the same. The biggest difference is the Packers actually. So the Packers has Vegas winning the division, 10.5 over under win total. But in the market, they're 17th in the Sim NFL market. The Sim Packers are. So the Sim Packers, the market is not excited about the Sim Packers as Vegas is for this year, and for a couple reasons, I think. One thing we've talked about a lot about the difference between, say, SimBull and other gambling markets or betting markets in general is that SimBull is not a 1 game, 1 year event, right? So the market could be looking like, okay, even if Aaron Rodgers does come back and play this year, it sounds like he's out the door for sure next year. Whether they trade him, whether they cut him, whether they do something with him, it sounds like he's gone. So that leads to uncertainty at the quarterback position, right? For the next 5 years, maybe not for the next 1 year, but for the next 5 years, certainly. So I think the SimBull market is punishing the Packers a lot more than the gambling market is, because the gambling market is looking at it like, well, if Rodgers plays this year, they're going to win 10 games, right? That's just going to happen. So that's something interesting to look at too, the difference between gambling markets and SimBull. We can get a lot of insights about the gambling market and about teams on SimBull that a lot of times go together, but sometimes you had those differences. And this is one of those times where the gambling market for 1 year and the SimBull market for, say, the next 5 years don't agree on the direction of the Sim Packers. But if I was looking at the Sim NFC North for a team on SimBull, I would honestly probably look at the Sim Bears just because you have a young quarterback on a rookie deal. And what the NFL has proven is if you find a competent rookie quarterback, you can have a lot of success, especially with the defense that the Bears have, with Allen Robinson. Matt Nagy's taking a lot of heat, but a lot of that could be because Mitch Trubisky sucked, right? Like maybe Matt Nagy with a good quarterback can be a good coach. So I think the Sim Bears are an interesting team to look for next year and the years beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would be my pick too. No bias there, but I agree. They've fallen actually a ton. So on draft night, we saw them be one of the biggest risers in the Sim NFL market. Well, they've fallen recently to 24th in the marketplace. So currently priced at 42.31. I do think there's good value there. Again, it's a team that went 500 last year, 500 the year before. You add that extra game this year. So could be a tick around 500, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. And in my opinion, obviously, Mitch Trubisky had his struggles and Nick Foles was terrible for the Bears. And
people forget Mitchell Trubisky above 500 quarterback, right?
That's true. That's
winning
true.
Quarterback.
Yeah, in his career, and went to the playoffs one time. So, but yeah, and the MVP, we can't forget that one either. But yeah, and with subpar quarterback play, I mean, I think they ranked 29th and 30th in the league or something along those lines. I do think Andy Dalton is a bit of an upgrade. So even if Nagy's sticking to this plan that he keeps quoting that Andy Dalton is their starter, well, we all know it's not going to be for too long, and maybe Dalton can get the Bears to start off with a couple wins, 2 and 3 or something like that. Fields takes over, and if he turns out to be like we expected and kind of what you talked about there, Ken, then I think they do have a good value there, ranked 24th in the market currently.
Don't they start on like Sunday Night Football?
They do, and they're playing the Rams, so I don't know if that's the best time to trot out a rookie quarterback, especially with the struggles the Bears O-line had last year.
I think that's the reason. Why would you stick with? So here's what happened. So because Justin Fields came out and said, like, hey, I trust the plan. Like, I'm going to go and learn as much as I can. Do you think Nagy took him closed doors and be like, hey, here's the deal. Aaron Donald's coming up the middle week 1. We don't want you to get planted in the first week. Let's go to week 2 where you got like the Lions or something a little bit easier to dissect.
Yeah, they go Bears or they go Rams, Bengals, and then Browns. So maybe Dalton can salvage a win against the Bengals there, and then you got Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney coming week 3. So I think he just sat Justin down, turned on the film, and showed him some clips of Aaron Donald and then Clowney and Garrett as well. So better save the rookie. It's a long-term project for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Awesome. Well, let's look at some of the biggest losers. We'll kind of round this one up into one. So 76ers and their massive collapse the other night against the Hawks. Trae Young's been phenomenal, but can't go without saying that 30-point collapse by the 76ers after trusting the process for, what is this, year 6 or 7 of trusting the process. Looks like it's all going to be on the line again. And then we had the Clippers. They're up 3-2 on the Jazz, but Kawhi Leonard is out for the rest of the series, at least with an ACL injury. Doesn't seem good there. And then we also have the Sim Nuggets, who are out of the playoffs after they were swept by the Sim Nuggets. Sorry, they were swept by the Suns, who have been phenomenal this series. So.
Yeah, and that's actually, I was reading back through the comments. I think on one of our previous shows, I saw someone just had a comment about talking about, the expected value of the next 6 months. Right. And we've talked about this before. There are transitions between leagues, right? The Sim NBA is winding down. There's only, a handful of teams left that can win payouts. So if they're not earning you win payouts, why not go to the Sim MLB? Why not go to the Sim NFL, which is what we're seeing, right? It's not a coincidence that the 5 biggest losers of the week are teams that got eliminated from the playoffs, and the 5 biggest gainers are teams that have the opportunity to earn win payouts for the next 6 months or the next 12 months. So one of the comments, I do apologize, I forget your name. That is something that happens where, leagues come to a close, people transition their money into other leagues, and then it'll go back around. So one important thing about being successful in the SimBull market is that timing of hey, you can have a run where Sim NFL went crazy throughout the fall, and then maybe it dips down when people start going back to the Sim NBA and vice versa. So something to keep in mind moving forward, just as the transitional leagues, that is something that occurs.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen it as we went from NFL to NBA to MLB, and now we're seeing it again as people are starting to gear up for football. Also, real quick, before I forget, I think we'd be remiss to not mention Sim College Football coming to SimBull. We're super excited about this one. Check it out under our analysis tab, article titled College Football Coming to SimBull. If you look at that one, you'll be able to see if your favorite team is available. More details coming next Thursday about the release, but those shares will be released on July 1st. So stay tuned to our social media. We have it down here at SimBull Exchange on Twitter, and our analysis tab on our website as well for every update that you need on college football coming to the SimBull market.
Yeah, that was probably an oversight as we were preparing for the show. I didn't think about that. Yeah, super excited about the Sim CFB. It's honestly been our most requested sport, right? People love college football. So we had to add it to the market. It's unbelievably awesome. Going to be a ton of fun. We're sticking to Power 5. So we're not doing FCS. Sorry if you're an FCS fan. St. Thomas is not going to be in it. No Sim Tommies for the 2 Tommy grads. But should be a ton of fun. College sports are awesome. And being able to have that in a market is going to be a ton of fun. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Like Patton said, next week we're going to be releasing the initial share offering prices, and then you'll be able to buy shares during the initial share offering period from July 1st to August 1st. So throughout that time, we'll be able to buy shares. There's going to be 100 shares of every team. So make sure to hop in right away if you want Sim Alabama, Sim Clemson, Sim Ohio State, probably going to go pretty quick. So if you do want to have your first choice, make sure to do it on July 1st because a lot of teams are going to sell out pretty quickly. And then again, you can buy for the whole month of July, and then trading will start August 2nd. So we're super excited about it. It's going to be a really exciting market, I think, just because it's different than every other sport where 25% of your roster pretty much turns over every year, right? And maybe 50% of your starters. So should be a really interesting and dynamic market moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. And like you mentioned, there's always those blue bloods at the top, but then you get the underdogs like, teams that get in there and surprise people where you have those ones who are steady like Notre Dame who get in but don't get over that hump of winning a national championship. So we're definitely excited to see some of that trading, and win payouts are 50 cents. So that'll be just like the Sim NFL. So a great chance to win some money from the year or to earn some win payouts from year to year and in that long run as well. So we're excited for that. Cool. Let's get to our picks. We'll wrap this up here. So who are you taking this week? Who do you like? You've been on a heater with your Rays pick. You can't pick them again, unfortunately. But who do you like for this upcoming week?
Yeah, if I could pick the Sim Rays, I'd pick them to go from 6 to 2 because they should. No, I got two, actually. I'm going to stay in the AL East, the Sim Red Sox. So the Sim Red Sox right now are the 13th highest priced team on the SimBull market, but they have the third best record in baseball. They're half a game behind the Sim Rays for first. Their next 6 games, they have 3 against the Royals, then 3 against the Rays, and 3 against the Yankees. So they have a chance to actually overtake the Rays for first in the AL East. Something to monitor moving forward. This team does look like they're for real. They are going to stick around. It looks like they're going to go blow for blow with the Rays down the stretch. So Sim Red Sox, a team to monitor. I don't know if not any sort of guarantee buy, right? Because they do have tough games against the Yankees and the Rays where they could fall out. But if they come out on top of those games, look for that team down the stretch. The team that I really like, if you're looking for immediate win payouts, the Sim Brewers. So Sim Brewers right now tied for first in the NL Central, or maybe they're a game back of the Cubs in the NL Central. But their next 3 series, you have 3 against the Rockies, 3 against the Diamondbacks, 3 against the Rockies. There's a legit chance that they're going to go 6-3, 7-2, 8-1, maybe even 9-0 down that stretch. So it's something to keep in mind if you are looking for win payouts. The Sim Brewers might be a team to look for.
For sure. Yeah, they've got an easy schedule there, and we'll talk about some of those teams they're playing in our next transition when we talk about our biggest losers. But real quick, the team that I like this week, I'm going to stay in the AL East. The Toronto Blue Jays. Now, hear me out on this one, okay? So it's a tough division. They're 8.5 games back from the Rays, and obviously it's not easy when you have to play the Yankees and the Rays and the Red Sox in all these games, right? But I do like the fact at their upcoming schedule, they've kind of ran the gauntlet. I think they're 2 games under 500 or 1 game under 500. But coming up on their schedule, if you're looking purely at win payouts over the next week or two, they have the Orioles coming up, the Marlins, the Orioles, and the Mariners. So the Orioles have been awful this year, last in the AL East. The Marlins have lost 9 of their last 12, and they're playing the Cubs. So you assume that this weekend it'll go the same with those losing ways. And then they end up playing the Orioles again, and then the Mariners who are under 500. So some solid chances to earn a couple win payouts there over those few weeks, and then maybe sell them off at the end of that run when they have to play the Yankees again. So we'll wrap it up here with our picks that we don't like this week. Who are you going with, Kenneth?
So I don't even know. This doesn't really have anything to do with the SimBull market, but it's just worth mentioning. The Diamondbacks have been on one of the most atrocious runs I've ever seen in my entire life. They've lost 14 in a row. They've lost a record 24 straight games on the road, which is almost impossible to do in baseball. Baseball is legit a 40-60 game. No matter how bad you are, you still have like a 40% chance of winning every game. So it's a complete statistical anomaly that they've been able to lose 24 games in a row on the road. Literally almost impossible to do. They're the 4th cheapest team on the SimBull market, so they're ranked like 26th or something like that, priced at $26. If you're looking for a team that can only has the opportunity to go up because they're already at the bottom of the barrel, maybe look at the Sim Diamondbacks. But that team is not going to earn you a lot of win payouts moving forward, and they are absolutely atrocious. So watch them break their spell and go on like a 9-game winning streak after I say that. But just a ridiculous franchise. To lose 24 games in a row on the road is like impossible to do.
Yeah, and especially in that division when the Giants have been phenomenal, and then you have the Dodgers and the Padres as well. I mean, that's not good. for win payouts at all. And that's why part of the reason why this losing streak has been going on. I'm going to stick with a pick similar to yours. I'm going to go with the Rockies, but this is a weird one. So they have one of the best records in baseball at home, 24-14 at home this year. And everybody knows the advantage of Coors Field in Colorado. But
Justin Blackmon hits like 440 at home every year.
Right. And Nolan Arenado is a phenomenal player, but he hasn't shown that batting average. I know it's been a short time, but with the Cardinals, once he leaves Coors Field. So there's just something about that field with the high altitude and everything. So, but they are 5-27 on the road this year, which is absolutely mind blowing. So these next two games, it's only 2 series, and this could be one of those buys that you avoid for even longer than the next 2 weeks because they do return home after their next 2 series. But just looking into weeks, if you own Rocky shares, just be careful. You're not going to earn some win payouts when they're on the road, and they're playing the Mariners and then the Brewers both on the road. So basically expect them to get swept with that 5-27 start on the road away from Coors Field. So
awesome. Yeah, that's atrocious. It is one of the biggest home field advantages in all of sports, right? I think if you look at it, like historically at home, they're unbelievably good, but on the road, for whatever reason, they've never been able to put it together. I feel like the Rockies, we're both early 20s. I feel like the Rockies, when we were like when we were like 10 through 15, I feel like their offense was always awesome. They were putting up like 8 runs a game, but also they would always be like 500. I'm trying to think of like Justin Blackmon, but they had the right fielder. Who's the shortstop?
DJ LeMahieu was there for a while. Trevor Story's having a nice year. He's a newer player, but
Troy Tulowitzki was there. He would hit like 500 at home.
Cargo. Yeah, we're dating ourselves a little bit here, not knowing some of these old time guys, but yeah, for sure, man. So that's my pick to avoid, and so stay away from those bottom tier teams in the NL West, and go ahead and buy those top tier teams that are killing it this year so far. So, all right, well that's all we got for you guys. If you come back and watch, feel free to leave comments. Like Kenneth mentioned, we do go through the comments and add them to our next show, and we've been a little spotty with the times here. We're going to try and get more consistent, especially next Friday now that we're together at HQ. So we're looking forward to that. But thanks for everyone who tunes in and leaves comments in the chat. Make sure you subscribe as well and follow us on Twitter, as you can see there at SimBull Exchange. Again, we're dropping Sim College football soon and excited about that. So stay tuned for more announcements.
Awesome. Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right, guys. Thank you.